I invite the member for North Vancouver Seymour to lead the House in prayer or reflection.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are in tumultuous times that challenge us all. In this House, we are united in working together to determine next steps and to provide and protect to the people of British Columbia and the people of Canada. To quote a great female leader that I like, well, it's not quite a quote, it's a paraphrase. We will keep calm, we will carry on, and we will do it together. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Introductions by members. Member for Burnaby Metrotown.
Thank you, Your Honourable Speaker. I'm very glad to share today that I have a lot of my friends here today to the House. First, I have constituent Olga Stachova up there. She's the CEO of Mosaic, and it's an organization that is nonprofit settlement and employment services for newcomers. I also have Mr. Jay Lee who is an owner of La Forêt. It's one of the most favorite and most popular cafe and landmark in our Metrotown riding. And I have Rhea Park, who is my amazing constituent advisor who makes me look like a rock star online. I also have pleasure to introduce some of the BC's Professional Firefighters Association leadership. We have Doug Petty, and Kevin Devine and Steve Brewer. So please make them all feel welcome and thank them for their amazing service.
Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that it's a very special day for somebody here that we hold in high esteem, and that's our Speaker. Happy birthday to the Speaker.
After the question period. Member for Caribou-Chilcotin.
And many more, Mr. Speaker. Members, I'd like to introduce members of the Thompson-Nicola Regional District. They are here, of course, advocating for our area. Certainly proud to work with them. Our chair, Barbara Roden, is here, and she's joined by Scott Hildebrand and Corbin Kelly. They do amazing work for us in the Thompson-Nicola area. Thank you very much to them. Would the House please make them very welcome?
Minister of State for Rural Development.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise in the House today to welcome two guests from the BC Rural Health Network, Executive Director Paul Adams and Dr. Jude Cornelson of UBC Centre for Rural Health Research. The BC Rural Health Network promotes and supports health services that improve and sustain the health and well-being of people in rural communities across British Columbia. I know I speak on behalf of all MLAs in this House, how grateful we are for their work, and it seems that they're up there. I see some waves to them. So thank you so much, and I ask everyone in this House to please make them feel very welcome.
Member for West Kelowna Peachland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's an honor to rise today and recognize the outstanding constituency assistants who serve the people of West Kelowna Peachland, Jane Inkster and Nicole Day. These hardworking individuals are the backbone of our office, always going above and beyond to support our community. From handling casework to addressing the needs of our constituents, they do it all with dedication, professionalism, and a genuine care for the people they serve. Their efforts often go unnoticed, but they make a real difference in the lives of so many. On behalf of the entire riding, I want to express our deepest gratitude for their tireless work. The people of West Kelowna Peachland are fortunate to have such exceptional individuals in their corner. Thank you, Jane and Nicole, for everything you do, and welcome to the BC Legislature.
Minister of Children and Family Development.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Today I have two very special guests, Alinka Karkling and Gil Karkling. My auntie Alinka welcomed me into her home when I was 17 years old and decided to move across the country all by myself. She immigrated to Canada when she was a young child and has worked so hard her entire life. She is a rock. She is my mentor, and I love her. Also, my Uncle Gilbert, and Uncle Boogie, who is a famous umpire and DJ and volunteer at his local Legion. I love them both dearly. Will the House please join me in welcoming them here today?
Member for Kootenay Rockies.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I had a person show up yesterday that I didn't even know was going to come, but he's a big part of our team in Cranbrook. Was a huge part of our campaign team. Was there with us in the trenches, knocking on doors and doing a lot of great things. So I just wanted to make sure that I introduce to you a big, vital part of our team in Kootenay Rockies, Mr. A.J. Wolf. Thank you for being here.
Member for Vancouver-Langara.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise to welcome my two dear friends, volunteers, and constituents, Ron Richings in his beautiful orange t-shirt and Gudrun Langolf. Gudrun is a proud immigrant. She was a teenager when her parents came to Canada. Her European roots exposed her to socially progressive public policies, and she's been advocating on behalf of workers, and after retiring seniors as a president of the Council of Senior Citizens Organizations of BC, COSCO without the T. And I am so happy that they could join us today. Please make them feel welcome in the House.
Member for Kelowna Mission.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I would like to recognize the presence of Dr. Neil Facina in the precinct. Dr. Facina has been the president of Okanagan College since 2021, overseeing nearly 16,000 students and more than 60,000 alumni and counting. Okanagan College has 4 main campuses. Obviously, the best one is in Kelowna Mission. But I know that my appreciation for Okanagan College is strongly shared by the members for Kelowna Centre, Kelowna Lake Country Coldstream, Boundaries Similkameen, West Kelowna Peachland, Penticton Summerland, Columbia River Revelstoke, and of course my colleague across the aisle in Vernon Lumby. Would everyone please make Dr. Neil Facina welcome?
Member for Kootenay Comox.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to also extend our appreciation for Paul Adams and Dr. Cornelison as a member of our rural health critic team and our health team here, and a caucus that represents most of rural BC. It's fantastic to see you here, and I think everybody in this House looks forward to working with you. Thank you very much for coming.
Member for Cowichan Valley.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I will not introduce Paul and Adam again, but they've been introduced a lot, but I'm happy to see you here today and happy to see you yesterday. I rise to thank my constituency assistants, our advisors, Pam Cooling and Bree Robertson, who are here today. And like the member across had mentioned, they're rock stars in our community, and they keep the office running and handle all our constituents while we're here in this House. So let the House welcome my constituency advisors.
West Kelowna Peachland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is my great privilege to rise today and introduce someone very special to me, my wife, Megan. Megan has been a constant source of support and strength, not only for me, but to our entire community. She has dedicated countless hours to making a difference, both in our family and in the lives of those around us. Megan is a person of integrity, compassion, and tireless dedication, and her commitment to our community has been truly inspiring. I am incredibly proud to have her by my side, and today I'm honored to have her here in the Legislature with us. Mr. Speaker, I ask the entire House to join me in welcoming Megan to the Chamber today.
Leader of the Official Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Donna Burnett is here in the chamber. I know she was introduced yesterday. She's in the chamber today, but I just want to highlight, over her career, not only was she a great advocate for the Caribou and for communities, but she never forgot about Rural BC. And believe me, we heard it over and over and over again in our caucus. And I really appreciate it because the strength she showed in standing up for Rural BC and for the values that are so important for so many people around the province are just great. So I just would like to once again to recognize Donna Burnett and ask the House to please make her welcome.
Madam Clerk.
Introduction of bills.
Leader of the Official Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm honored today to move a bill intituled Free Trade and Mobility within Canada Act 2025, which notice will be given in my name and my papers, be introduced and read first time. There we go. Shall I try that again? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's an honor today to stand and to repeat myself saying that I'm honored to introduce a bill intituled Free Trade and Mobility within Canada 2025, of which notice has been given in my name on the order papers to be introduced and read a first time now. Mr. Speaker, this is a very simple act. It's an important piece of legislation that I think all provinces should be looking at doing, and it's modeled after a piece of legislation that was brought in Nova Scotia. The intent of this act is very simple. It is to remove all barriers to trade on goods, services, and investment between the provinces and territories of Canada. Given the situation that we are facing, it's critical today to make sure that we do everything we can to open our borders, to open up trade, and to strengthen Canada both economically and socially so that we can come through the challenging times a much stronger province and a much stronger country.
Member, the question is first reading of the bill. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Member.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I move that bill be placed on the orders of the day for the second reading at the next sitting of the House after today.
You have heard the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Madam Clerk. Sorry. Member for Langley, what?
Langley Villabread.
Yeah, Langley. Langley is a good city.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I move that a bill entitled Prenatal and Postnatal Mental Health Strategy Act, with notice has been given in my name on the order paper, be introduced and read the first time now. Thank you. As a mother of two beautiful daughters, I stand before you today to introduce Prenatal and Postnatal Mental Health Strategy Act. Bringing life into this world should be a time of hope, strength, yet for too many women, it becomes a silent battle. This bill is just not a legal framework. It is a timeline for women and families across our community. The journey of motherhood is one of the most profound and life-altering experiences, yet often comes with challenges that are not openly discussed. 1 in 5 women experience prenatal or postnatal mental health challenges, from anxiety, depression, to feelings of isolation. Motherhood is a transformative journey that brings joy, challenges, and profound changes to a woman's life. The joyous moments and new beginnings, it is essential to acknowledge that the less discussed aspects of motherhood, particularly those related to mental health. The transition to motherhood is marked by hormonal imbalances, lack of sleep, grief of loss of an infant, and adjustments to a new role, potentially impacting a woman's mental well-being. Postpartum mood disorders, including postpartum depression, PPD, anxiety disorders, and even rare but severe cases of postpartum psychosis, can cast a shadow over what is meant to be a joyous time. This important topic lies in the potential long-term consequences of untreated postpartum mood disorders, affecting not only the mother, but also their partners, children, and family family unit. This proposed bill recognizes that mental health is just as critical as physical health, especially during one of the most important moments in a woman's life. With implementing a comprehensive strategy, we ensure that women have access to the support and resources they need. This includes mental health services, education, and community support, all tailored to meet the unique needs of mothers. Moreover, this bill acknowledges that mental health is a vital part of overall well-being. It aims to foster an environment where women feel empowered to seek help without stigma or fear. By prioritizing mental health, we are not only supporting mothers, but also promoting healthier families and ultimately a healthier society. The review process embedded in this bill ensures that we remain responsive to the ever-needing needs of women and families. It demonstrates our commitment to continuous improvement and adaptation, ensuring that our strategies remain effective and relevant. In conclusion, the bill put forward is a vital step forward, supporting women and families during a very important period in their lives. It is a testament to our commitment to mental health awareness and the well-being of our future. I urge you to support this important bill for the sake of our mothers, wives, sisters, friends, daughters, and families. Thank you.
Member, the question is first reading of the bill. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Member for Langley Willowbrook.
Honorable Speaker, I move that this bill be placed on orders of the day for second reading at the next sitting of the House after today.
You have heard the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Madam Clerk.
Statements by members.
Member for Salmon Arm and Shuswap.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and happy birthday. Today I rise to recognize and express my deepest gratitude to the volunteer fire departments and their dedicated members across our province. These brave individuals selflessly risk their lives to protect our residents, properties, and businesses from fire and other emergencies. Their service is not just about emergency response. It extends to fostering civic pride, strengthening community bonds, and supporting local events. In my riding of Salmon Arm Shuswap, volunteer fire departments serve the City of Salmon Arm, Columbia Shuswap Regional District, the Regional District of North Okanagan, the Central Okanagan Regional District, as well as fire services for Little Shuswap Indian Band and North Okanagan Indian Band. Their presence ensures that home insurance remains accessible and affordable by maintaining essential fire protection standards. The White Lake Fire Hall, where I reside, exemplifies that community spirit while protecting neighbors. They make fireworks displays possible. They run a haunted house at Halloween. They have a Christmas party at Christmas time. And I can't say enough about the volunteer fire department in White Lake. At Christmas time, the Christmas party, they have a puppet show and fire pong. How appropriate. However, as our population ages and time becomes increasingly a scarce commodity, it is crucial that we encourage local residents to get involved, whether by joining, offering support, or contributing in other meaningful ways. These departments rely on dedicated individuals to step up and serve their communities. Today, I'd like to formally recognize the extraordinary courage, commitment, and sacrifices of our volunteer fire departments throughout the province. Their work deserves not only our gratitude, but the continued support of at the provincial level to ensure that they have the resources needed to carry out their duties safely and effectively. Thank you.
Member for Burnaby East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to recognize World Hearing Day, which was just yesterday. It's observed on March 3rd every year. It aims to raise awareness about the importance of hearing health and highlights ways to prevent hearing loss. The theme for 2025 focuses on promoting ear and hearing care to improve quality of life globally. It serves as a reminder of how vital it is to protect and care for our hearing, as well as to provide support and education for deaf people and those that are hard of hearing.
Mr. Speaker, in Burnaby, the Family Network for Deaf Children is a parent-run, nonprofit organization that plays an essential role in supporting children and families affected by deafness and hearing loss by providing resources, putting on camps, offering ASL to parents and siblings of deaf kids, advocacy, and building a sense of community. The network helps empower families to navigate the challenges of communication and accessibility. Mr. Speaker, the Family Network for Deaf Children is crucial in connecting children and their parents with local services and promoting inclusion, ensuring that deaf kids and those with hearing impairments have access to the tools they need to thrive, like ASL. Deaf Youth Today is FNDC's summer program, and their aim is providing language-rich social and recreational experiences and leadership opportunities for deaf and hard of hearing children and youth in Burnaby and across British Columbia. Deaf Youth Today's summer registration opens on April 1st, and you can find out more on fndc.ca. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Kamloops North Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to share my experiences with a man who has done much for the community of Barrier and the surrounding North Thompson Valley for over 50 years. Bill Kershaw, with his new bride Bernie, moved to Barrier in 1968 and purchased the Esso service station and tow truck service. From the beginning, Bill was called out at all hours of the day and night to rescue people and their vehicles in numerous situations. It could be a simple flat tire without a spare. It could be a vehicle stuck in a shallow ditch, or to more serious highway crashes with dead and injured people to attend to. And as a reminder, Barrier had just raised money as a community and purchased their first ambulance in 1968, a first. Mr. Speaker, Bill was always community-minded and helped everyone he could, whether he was working on projects around our town, coaching his 3 boys in sports, working on vehicles to all hours of the night so people could get their work vehicles back by morning. Bill was dedicated. Bill was on the Improvement District for many years, and during the spring of 1996, when he stepped down, I stepped in. Bill was elected many terms to the TNRD, including Vice Chair, as well as serving on our District Council for 2 terms. Bill has sat on many community organizations throughout the years and joined the Barrier Chamber of Commerce in 2005, first serving as a Director, a Vice President, and 12 years as President. Mr. Speaker, all of us in this House understand and respect the importance of having strong local businesses in our communities, large and small. Many of our businesses have been hit in recent times. High taxes, crime, bureaucracy and red tape, and now U.S. tariffs. But through it all, Mr. Speaker, people like Bill Kershaw have demonstrated that hard work, volunteering, and doing what is right for a community, our communities are stronger. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, Bill Kershaw is receiving the Barrier Chamber of Commerce Lifetime Award tonight. I could not think of a better person to be recognized for over 50 years of community service. Way done, Bill. Thank you.
Member for Nanaimo Lansville.
Mr. Speaker, farmers are the backbones of our communities. They rise before the sun, work in all conditions, and carry skills that take years, if not generations, to master. Farming isn't just a job, it's a craft. It's a science and a calling. Yet too often we take for granted the people who put food on our table. In my community, that's why Island Roots Farmers Market is so important. It's more than a place to buy fresh food. It's a marketplace of opportunity that's open every Wednesday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. by Bevan Park. It connects hard-working farmers and food producers directly to the community, keeping money in our local economy while creating jobs and proving that farming is a viable, rewarding career, especially for young people. And I'll admit, Honourable Speaker, it's the chocolate chip cookies and jams from Mama Sue's granola bars that always gets me to stop. For every dollar spent at a farmer's market, twice as much stays in the local economy compared to big box stores. That's money supporting local businesses, sustaining family farms, and strengthening our local economy. to make sure our food system is in our hands. With rising costs, global supply chain disruptions, and the unjustified tariffs of the United States of America, we need more farmers, not fewer. Young people deserve to see agriculture as a career of stability, independence, and pride. Because food security isn't just about having enough to eat, it's about who grows it, where it's grown, and whether those who produce it can make a decent living. So to the farmers, vendors, and volunteers at Island Roots Farmers Market, thank you. You're not just feeding British Columbians, you're building an economy that works for rural communities, working people, and the next generation. To the farmhand in Buffalo Creek, the family rancher in Horsefly, and the dairy farmer in Abbotsford, know this: your work matters. Your labor feeds this province, and so long as farmers keep farming, British Columbia will never be the 51st state. Honourable Speaker, let's stand with our farmers, because when they thrive, we all thrive.
Member for Richmond, Bridgeport.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to emphasize the urgent need for affordable and accessible transit for British Columbia seniors in off-peak hours. This initiative is not only a matter of compassion, but also a vital step towards creating a more equitable and sympathetic society. As we all know, the current cost of living in British Columbia is unsustainable for many seniors. Housing, food, and transportation costs are skyrocketing, leaving many of our elderly citizens struggling to make ends meet. That is why public transportation is so crucial for our seniors. By ensuring seniors can travel independently, we not only enhance their quality of life, but also foster greater inclusivity, enabling them to remain active participants in our society. I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Richmond Poverty Reduction Coalition, led by President Dee Whalen, for their tireless efforts in advocating for seniors' rights. Their dedication and perseverance are truly inspiring, and I'm honored to stand alongside them in this fight. Affordable and accessible public transit for seniors in off-peak hours is not only a moral imperative, but it's also common sense. By providing this service, we can help reduce social isolation, promote mobility, and support seniors' overall well-being. In fact, studies have shown that access to public transportation can have a significant impact on seniors' mental and physical health. It's a matter of dignity, independence, and quality of life. So let us unite in taking care of our seniors. We owe it to our seniors who have contributed so much to our society to ensure that they can live their golden years with dignity and respect. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Victoria Swan Lake.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Today, I am pleased to highlight the Rising Economy Conference taking place locally this week, convened by South Island Prosperity Partnership. This year's distinguished lineup includes a panel discussion on the future of Greater Victoria's film industry, highlighting the importance of this sector in our region's economy. Launched in 2016 and now under the leadership of Aaron Young, South Island Prosperity Partnership is a nonprofit public-private partnership of municipal governments, First Nations, post-secondaries, major employers, nonprofits, and industry associations. During these unpredictable times, with businesses grappling with the uncertain impacts of tariffs, this year's Rising Economy Conference strikes an empowering tone. The conference theme, What is Possible, invites a diversity of participants to consider ways to open doors to opportunity, accelerate innovation, and drive the creation of household-supporting jobs. Here on the South Island, between 2019 and 2023, the film sector generated an annual average direct spend of $60 million. This is invested into crew wages, accommodations, location rentals, set building, gas, groceries, and so on. Film and production and television production is a powerful catalyst for tourism and community benefits. A panel discussion moderated by Vancouver Island South's Film Commissioner Tara Lee Novak, titled Lights, Camera, Now What?, considers ways the motion picture sector, businesses, and community can work together to maximize these benefits. As Parliamentary Secretary for Arts and Film, I would like to thank the Film Commissioner and South Island Prosperity Partnership for underscoring that film is more than about telling stories. It is about shaping our province's story and an economy that is resilient, innovative, and sustainable. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Oral questions by members.
Member for Delta South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the historic Dinsdale Farm in Cowichan Bay has grown tremendous agricultural crops for over 100 years. Nature Trust of BC, the current landowner, recently announced plans to breach the dike and flood this pristine farmland with tidal seawater. Last year, the Ministry of Water, Land and Resource Stewardship actually applied to the Agricultural Land Commission promoting the destruction of this farmland. And today, Mr. Speaker, Donald Trump has made BC food more expensive. Will the Premier do what's right and nullify this plan to breach the dike and flood this 150 acres of valuable farmland with seawater?
Minister for Agriculture.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's so nice to be able to get up and talk about agriculture, especially on a day when we see tariffs coming in and threatening our food security, our sovereignty, and there's never been a better moment to support BC agriculture. I've been out and about in communities, and there's a real buzz about buying BC. I have so much faith in our consumers as we look forward and become more resilient in every way in this province. To the member's question, I know that he's a real champion for agriculture, as myself, and I know that he's quite concerned around the impending plans to flood some agricultural land in the Cowichan Valley. There's been a lot of thought that's been done around the values of returning this area into a natural ecosystem. I think the member will know that to have healthy agriculture, you also have to have a healthy ecosystem surrounding it. And so when we think about the ecosystem that supports fish and the natural biodiversity of this land, a decision was made that for the greater good, this would be returned to an ecosystem.
Member for Prince George Valemount.
Last Saturday, the Prince George Regional Highway Rescue Society was called out to a vehicle rollover on Highway 16 East. The vehicle damage was significant and the driver was crushed inside. Using very specialized equipment and training, the volunteers from the Rescue Society were able to respectfully extricate the individual. The recovery operation and scene cleanup took over 6 hours. I'm sure this government would agree that the specialized equipment, training, and service these tireless and brave volunteers offered to my region is invaluable. Yesterday, I learned that this Regional Highway Rescue Society has not yet received their gaming grant. They are at a critical point of survival. Will this government ensure they receive the essential funding they require?
Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I thank the member for her question and her care for her community. Gaming grants are essential. They support so many nonprofit organizations across this province. That's why we've dedicated over $140 million to support gaming grants, because they do valuable work like the member references. I can get back to her with specific details around the question that she has asked around that organization. I don't have that in front of me now, but I can tell her that in 24-25, for example, the government supported the Bulkley Valley Stikeen Kitwanga Community Association to the tune of $250,000, for example, and that was to help them with their emergency services facility, accommodate an ambulance, fire bay with fire protection pumper truck, including crew quarters and community access for community paramedic, for example. But if the member wants to follow up with me around specific details and the timing, I'm happy to hear from her, and I'll get her the information as best as I can. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Member for Fraser-Nicola.
Mr. Speaker, Sunday night, the Nicola Valley Hospital experienced its 6th closure in the last month. The people of Merritt, and especially the mayor, are fed up. When I spoke to the mayor Sunday evening, he was ready to call a state of emergency. This government knows that he has sent a bill to the Premier to cover the cost of 23 different closures at Nicola Valley General Hospital in 2023. The total cost that the City of Merritt is looking to be reimbursed for is over $103,000 for services rendered during these closures. The mayor has asked me to see if I can stop by the minister's office and pick up a check today for him, or should I just tell him that the check is in the mail?
Minister of Health.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker, and thank you to the member for the question. I too had the opportunity to speak to the mayor on Sunday night, and we had a long conversation about the impacts to the community and what it feels like to be a member of the Merritt community in the greater region when the emergency room has to be diverted. I believe there's an understanding that with a global healthcare worker shortage, it has been challenging to recruit and train physicians and nurses so we have sufficient staffing to keep the emergency room open all the time, which is what people depend on. And I know that. Mr. Speaker, that's why this government has doubled down on the work that we are doing to train doctors here in British Columbia, to recruit more healthcare workers into regional communities, into smaller communities, places like Merritt, which are fantastic places to live. I know that the mayor of Merritt is dedicated to that work too. I know that he supports the healthcare workers in that hospital, as do we. And Mr. Speaker, we're not going to stop this work. We're going to continue so that we build the capacity in the healthcare system at this time too, strengthening healthcare for British Columbians, because that's what we all depend on. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
West Vancouver Capilano.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The school district of Surrey is facing a $16 million shortfall. As a result, the district is looking to make more budget cuts with learning centres, education programs and school busing. The government says that it is the district's problem, but the reality is it is this government's fault for not funding education to keep pace with inflation and population growth. To the Minister of Education, will she step in to cover the funding gap in the Surrey School District? Yes or no?
Minister of Education.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I want to thank the member for the question. I hear the concern in her voice to ensure that students in her community are receiving all the resources and supports they need to thrive. And we in this government share that concern, which is why year over year our government has continued to invest in education. The Surrey School District in 2017 had a budget of $641 million. Honourable Speaker, last year the Surrey School District's budget was $1.03 billion. We're going to continue to invest in education. Decisions around...
Please continue.
Thank you, Speaker. Decisions around programming are made at the school district level. I know the member knows that. And I know that the Surrey School District will work with the community to ensure they're putting a budget forward.
Member for Surrey Cloverdale, please. Member. Minister will conclude.
Thanks. That the school district will work with the community to put a budget forward that meets the community's needs, and will continue to invest in education. Thank you.
Members. Leader of the third party.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. As has already been pointed out in this House in our 2 short weeks together, we measure what we value. In BC, our official measures of economic progress are inadequate and incomplete. A focus only on gross domestic product as the dominant metric of economic health has skewed our view of what really matters. GDP favors short-term wealth creation and consumption over long-term wealth generation, sustainability, and intergenerational fairness. GDP goes up with every car crash, oil spill, and purchase of bottled water, but not when we protect our watersheds. We wouldn't accept this single-minded measure of success in any other aspect of our lives. As a rookie on Budget Day, I was hesitant to ask the Minister of Finance a question on a busy and challenging day, so my question is to the Executive Council. Does the government have the tools in place to evaluate outcomes from this afternoon's budget using a broad set of well-being indicators that matter to British Columbians?
Minister of Jobs and Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Member Opposite, for the question. Our government has a robust set of programs and services that are supporting communities and well-being on the ground, and we're really monitoring the well-being through a series, and I know that even our poverty reduction strategy report was tabled yesterday, continuing to ensure that we're supporting British Columbians through what is currently, Mr. Speaker, a very difficult time, and it's going to be more difficult. And we've been working to ensure affordability is tackled with programs across a bunch of different ministries to ensure we're tackling affordability for families, for affordability for businesses, supporting our economies to thrive as we tackle this challenge with our strengthen, respond, and diversify strategy in this tariff moment.
Member supplemental.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Thank you to the Minister for the answer. We need better tools that measure the success of these programs and services and measure the fulfillment and well-being of our people, the long-term impacts of our spending decisions, and whether our communities are becoming safer and more resilient. We need to look beyond short-term politics and focus on building a thriving British Columbia. Countries around the world are adopting indices of well-being that measure economic income, plus a full suite of indicators such as the environment, culture, safety, recreation, health, and education. The upheaval of today's tariffs is an opportunity for the province to develop a Made in BC Wellbeing Index. My question, again to the government, will they work with this House to establish a wellbeing framework tailor-made for British Columbia?
Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you, Member Opposite. In this moment, we know our communities and our businesses and our workers are being impacted. And I appreciate the Member Opposite's question around meeting this moment while we're really taking care to see what's happening on the ground in our communities. That's why our government has set up the Business Task Force. That's why we have the poverty reduction strategy metrics having been tabled yesterday. That's why our ministry is listening to and engaging with businesses. I've been meeting, Mr. Speaker, with businesses across the community, with local governments, with Indigenous communities and industry associations, so that we can engage through this crisis to ensure we're supporting British Columbians, protecting jobs, protecting our communities, continuing to monitor our outcomes so that we're doing the best we can together to support our communities through this crisis.
Member for Richmond Centre.
Mr. Speaker, Richmond Centre is missing 2 elementary schools. Residents and the school board have been begging this government to approve the construction of the much-needed schools for years. The situation will only get worse as thousands of new homes are set to be built in the area over the next few years. Over 600 students are crammed into modular portables, and they only get 40 minutes of gym time per week. That's even less than the students in Hong Kong, a city with a population density 1,200 times that of BC. Mr. Speaker, is the Minister of Education going to step up and promise the people of Richmond now, or should I wait until my grandkids are born?
Minister of Infrastructure.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker. It is my pleasure to be able to rise on my first question in this House under this new portfolio, the Ministry of Infrastructure. We were created as a new ministry at a time when government is actively implementing the single largest capital infrastructure program in BC history. Through tens of billions of dollars in capital investment, this has led to 30 hospitals, 11 long-term care homes, 4 cancer centers, 226 school projects, including those in the city of Richmond. For instance, in the city of Richmond, where the member is hailed from, we have, in terms of schools, the R.C. Tilney Elementary School, the F.A. Thompson Elementary School, John G. Diefenbaker Elementary School, Howard DeBeck Elementary School, Alfred B. Dixon Elementary School. These are projects that are complete or underway. We know that the city of Richmond is growing. We will continue to work with them to ensure that we continue this good work that we have already underway.
Member for West Kelowna Peachland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under this NDP government, violent crime is spreading across British Columbia. In Abbotsford, 2 stores, Shoppers Drug Mart and Real Canadian Superstore, are requiring staff to wear body cameras in response to violent crime. They were forced to take this action because this government turns a blind eye to repeat offenders. When will this government crack down on violent crime before body cams are in every store across British Columbia?
Minister of Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the member opposite for the question. I think it's important that we put in context some of the criminal activity that is occurring across the province. This is not a new trend. This, as in this case, is isolated.
Member.
These cases are isolated to specific incidents, to specific people. I'm proud that we've supported the police to have target teams to target offenders like this, and that is something that we will continue.
Member for Surrey North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A Surrey community and our community is sending you birthday wishes. Happy birthday once again. And also they send one question. 25% of people who use Surrey food banks have a full-time job. 25%. Does the Premier think this is acceptable?
Member of Social Development. Minister, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The member's quite right. This is that anybody is food insecure in a country and a province as prosperous as this is something that we've been working very hard to overcome. We brought in a plan to tackle poverty, and we have been lifting tens of thousands of people out by investments like increasing the minimum wage, increasing income assistance rates, investing in childcare, investing in affordable housing. And when people don't have enough food, we also invested, and with great thanks to the partners that helped us deliver this, $50 million in emergency funding. Thank you to Food Banks BC and United Way BC that were able not only to help partners like the Surrey Food Bank with emergency food funding. I'm not sure if the members actually want to hear the answer. Yeah.
Members, Minister will conclude.
Surrey Food Bank has received, through funding from my ministry, both support with emergency food purchasing so that they can meet the need, but also infrastructure. In the case of Surrey Food Bank, a refrigerated delivery truck so that they're able to collect food from corporate donors and bring them to people. We're going to continue to do this work, willing to work with the member opposite to bring the supports his community needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Member for Surrey South.
Mr. Speaker, this is staggering. Food bank usage in the province has doubled under this NDP government. 225,000 visits in 1 month. That's the equivalent of everyone in South Surrey needing food bank assistance twice every month. How can the Premier justify letting so many British Columbians fall behind?
Minister of Social Development and Poverty Reduction.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We all want people to have access to nutritious, healthy, affordable food, and this is a challenge that people don't across the entire continent. The impact of global inflation and extremely high prices for food that have risen everywhere are not things that our government can prevent, but we can help people in their time of need. That's why between the Minister of Agriculture and myself, $200 million in food supports for food security. That is investment to farmers, to growing more food, and through my ministry, a portion of that has gone directly to emergency food serving organizations. We are helping food serving organizations with both food infrastructure and direct help, and we're grateful to the partners and the charitable groups that help deliver help to people in their time of need.
Member for Surrey Serpentine River.
Honourable Speaker, the Minister of Housing and Municipal Affairs has trouble in his own house. After Oak Bay rejected a development, this minister responded by forcing an advisor on them. The problem the Oak Bay project rejected was the minister's own brother's project. That is a clear conflict of interest. When will the Premier call for a full investigation into this housing minister using government authority to enrich his family?
Minister of Housing.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Well, to start with, the member is false, and the member would never say that in the hallway because she knows that there would be a lawsuit on her hands. Now, Honourable Speaker, it's important to note that housing is a responsibility of all local governments. We need to ensure that all local governments are doing their part. In the case of Oak Bay, it's clear that they haven't been reaching their housing targets. We need to ensure...
Members. Minister.
Again, the member from Surrey has got some comments. I welcome her to make them outside in the hallway. These allegations are 100% false. In fact, if the member has something, I challenge them to take it to the Conflict Commissioner. They won't, because they know nothing's there, Honourable Speaker. Now, it's important, Honourable Speaker. Now, Honourable Speaker, the problem we have is a lack of housing. We need to ensure all communities are doing their part. It is frustrating for communities when they are making difficult decisions to approve housing to have a neighbouring community not doing their part, Honourable Speaker. If we're in this together, if we're all of us are in this together, everyone has to do a little bit so that one community doesn't have to do a lot. We're going to continue to do our work with Oak Bay. We're going to have to continue to do our work with West Vancouver, as well as all communities across British Columbia.
Member for Richmond Queensborough.
Mr. Speaker, Richmond residents near the Alderbridge Temporary Modular Housing Site are living in fear, dealing with open drug use, discarded needles, and harassment. Families, seniors, and children no longer feel safe in their own neighborhood. A local resident summed it up, quote, "We are seeing crack pipes, needles, drug use right in front of our homes." Will the Premier admit that it's low-barrier housing policies or failing communities and putting public safety at risk?
Minister of Housing.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And I'll say this, I've said this many times in this House, I'll say it again. Demonizing vulnerable people, sure, and it gives you a couple of political points for the day, Honourable Speaker. It may make you feel good today, Honourable Speaker, but it will not solve the challenges that people are facing in their communities. Now, I've heard members on both sides of this House talk about the importance of supporting people who are vulnerable, supporting people who have issues around addiction, around mental health, Honourable Speaker. It's vitally important, Honourable Speaker, to address any of those major challenges that you have to have a roof over people's heads.
The problem here is not homeless people. The problem here is lack of housing, Honourable Speaker. We need to approve more housing, all types of housing. It's the only way we're going to address this major challenge that we have. Now, in Richmond, we know there's a need for more supportive housing. We have the stats. They show us that over 40% increase in homelessness in that community. And the people are not coming from elsewhere. There are people in the community. I know there's good people on both sides of the House that want to address this. Those of you that want to address it, I'm happy to work with you. I'm happy to work with the Richmond Council as well, because we need to find solutions. We can't leave people out in encampments. We can't let them sleeping in front of businesses. That is not good for the people living there. It's not safe for the community at large. So we're going to continue that work in Richmond and communities around the province.
Member for North Island.
The Port Hardy Hospital ER has been closing at 5 p.m. for over 2 years. I used to work at that hospital as a doctor when it was open 24/7. Recently, an 8-year-old child with severe asthma was diverted to from Port Hardy to Port McNeill and fortunately survived. Others weren't as lucky. To the Minister of Health, you are ultimately responsible for the failure of Island Health's CEO and 9 vice presidents. When will you make them accountable and hire people who can get the job done?
All questions through the chair member. Minister of Health.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker, and thank you to the member for the question and for raising her concerns for Port Hardy and for all of the hospitals that have experienced these kinds of diversions. And of course, this is absolutely not what any community wants to see, because we want to know that the emergency room is there, that healthcare services are there for us when they are needed, where they are needed, Mr. Speaker. That's why we're going to continue to take the action that we are, working together with health authorities who have the best interests of all community members at heart and are doing everything that they can, working with the healthcare workforce to avert these kinds of closures that we have been experiencing. Mr. Speaker, we are making progress. Over the last 6 months, we've seen a 40% reduction across the province in emergency room diversions. We still have an incredible amount of work to do. We still have an incredible amount of work to do, and I am deeply committed to doing that work with health authorities, with the healthcare workforce, and with the member opposite as we do everything we can to make sure that healthcare is there for people when they need it.
Member for Columbia River Revelstoke.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. This government has had 18 months to design a framework for staking mineral claims, which must include First Nations consultation. Only within the last few days have they released a draft, and surprise, neither First Nations nor industry are happy with what they see. Mr. Speaker, why is this government so laser focused on destroying mining in British Columbia?
Minister of Mining and Critical Minerals.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Thanks to the member for the question. Honourable Speaker, we are fully committed to supporting a responsible, competitive and strong mining sector that provides jobs to the people of British Columbia across the province, Mr. Speaker, and provides minerals that are critical to the low-carbon economy moving forward. The mineral claims consultation framework the member is talking about was created in response of a Supreme Court ruling, Mr. Speaker. The court gave us 18 months, Mr. Speaker, to implement a new framework. And we have consulted, Mr. Speaker, First Nations, we have consulted the industry and all that, and we are going to now implement the new framework, Mr. Speaker. But let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, that we have included several of the key recommendations made by the Association of Mineral Exploration, Mr. Speaker, and we will not stop there. We will continue to listen and adapt as we move forward. This is the new framework, Mr. Speaker, that will actually sustain the mining sector in the long run, Mr. Speaker, and create more jobs for the people of British Columbia and grow our economy.
Member for Courtenay Comox.
Mr. Speaker, with ERs closed across rural BC, our broken emergency transport system is costing rural British Columbian children their lives. A critically ill infant in the East Kootenays died waiting for help. A 5-year-old suffered permanent damage, forced into emergency surgery to remove a section of their bowel because transportation was too slow and failed them. 2 avoidable tragedies. Before COVID, Alberta's STARS Air Ambulance team filled the gap in BC's broken system. Now, our system is leaving desperate parents watching the clock, praying their children survive. How can the minister defend these deadly delays, and what action will be taken now to ensure no more children pay the ultimate price for our failing rural health system?
Minister of Health.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker. And of course, when people call 911 in an emergency, they need to know that the service is there for them and that help is on the way quickly. That's why this government has done so much investing in rural transport, in paramedics, out in rural communities, so much more than the previous government did. Mr. Speaker, since 2017, we've seen a significant increase, Mr. Speaker, in the number of calls that are coming, and that's why we're taking action to strengthen these services. Mr. Speaker, we've added over 1,500 permanent full-time paramedics. Mr. Speaker.
Member.
We've added dozens and dozens of new ambulances, new air ambulances. We've converted 24 ambulance stations from part-time on-call to full-time on-call, Mr. Speaker. With these kinds of stations staffed around the clock, Mr. Speaker, we are able to respond faster. We're going to continue to make these kinds of investments because we know that rural communities depend on them. Thank you.
The bell ends the question period. Members momentarily will be adjourning the House for a security exercise in this chamber, so I ask all members to stay here, and members of public will be leaving the gallery. Members of the media and the staff would be most welcome to come and join us in the gallery. Government House Leader.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I move the House to now adjourn.
You heard the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. This House stands adjourned until 1:30 p.m.